This is part two of the best ways to raise money for film, tips and strategies. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Let's motivate, elevate, inspire, and make things happen. Shout out to the channel, Standard Story Company. Let's go.
And that brings us to option 4 for financing a short film, investors. Yes. What if somebody just gives me the money to make the film? So there's a few different types of investors for short films. One is the investor that's looking to put money into a project in exchange for an executive producer or producer credit so that they can gain credibility in the film industry or the indie film world. Usually they're only going to do this with a filmmaker that has a track record and an upward trajectory, because they're only going to invest in the film if they believe it's going to play at some decent film festivals, get a lot of attention, and therefore give the project prestige and themselves credibility for being attached to this prestigious film. For a first-time filmmaker, it's pretty unlikely to find an investor like that. But if you have any previous successes, it's very possible to get investments from these people. We had $2,500 just donated, not even invested, in our first Kickstarter campaign for our second feature film based on the success of our first feature film. It was by a complete stranger, put in $2,500 for that executive producer credit. Similarly, on Will the Machine, we had somebody donate to get that executive producer credit, and then he ended up executive producing a short film I made, Hawaii, and paid for the entire thing. So that's option 1. Option 2 I'll cover really quickly because it won't apply to most people, and that is getting your short film commissioned by a platform that makes short films. Somebody like Crypt TV or Adult Swim. They will commission short films sometimes, but obviously to do that, you're going to need some inside contacts or just have so much talent, such a great track record that they come to you. So again, not very useful for first-time filmmakers, but that brings us to the third type of investor, which is small or local businesses. Now, these actually can be a gold mine. When I was in high school, I had a local real estate agent give us $200 to put her real estate yard sign in the background of one of our shots. That was easy money. In high school, my friend's dad worked for a yellow book company, and his branch had to make a short film that was funny that could kick off this conference they were having. And they didn't want to do it, so they just paid us to come up with something and shoot it. That was the first time I was ever paid to make a short film. Now again, with these local businesses, you're gonna have to be creative and think about what are they going to get out of it. So if it involves their business, it can be free advertising, it can be something funny that they can show off to their employees, and it might be a tax write-off for them too. So think about that and try to leverage any connections you have to local businesses to your advantage. Now, if none of those are working, there's always the fourth type investor, which is probably invested in more short films than any of the other types of investors, and that is the rich uncle. Now, this type of investor is ideal for the first-time filmmaker, but you still have to do everything in your power to present your project to them in the most professional and serious manner that you can. The more your relative feels that you're serious and passionate about this project, the wider they're going to be willing to open that wallet. So even if this is somebody that you're really close with, consider making like a PowerPoint or a pitch deck to show off your project. Whatever you do though, if you get an investor for your short film, do not lie to them and do not mislead them about the thing I talked about in the beginning of this video, which is they are putting their money into a black hole from which it will never return.
I've waited years.
It's not coming back. What you can tell them and what you should plan for is that you will put this film in front of as many people as you possibly can to get it as big of an audience as you can. Okay, and before we go into the fifth and final option for raising money for a short film, I do want to say stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to tell you something that's very important to know before you raise any money for a short film. But the fifth way to make money for a short film is to take out a loan. And it's very ill-advised, but I have done it before, and it paid off really well. My producing partner and I split a loan from lendingclub.com, which is like an online loan servicer that's really easy to use. And we got a $10,000 loan for our short film, Will the Machine. Now, we owed, I think, $310 a month for 3 years to pay it off. We were splitting it between the two of us, so it only ended up being $155 a month for each of us. And, you know, we were earning passive income from our first feature film, Bad is Bad, so most months we didn't even feel it or notice that we were paying for this loan. However, I'd say if you're going to do this and split a loan with somebody, be very careful about who you do it with. I would never have done this with somebody I didn't trust completely because it'd be very easy to just like have a falling out with your producer and get left paying off the rest of this loan by yourself. And obviously taking out a loan to pay for a short film is not at all like a sustainable way to pay for your projects. It is more of a, you know, break glass in case of emergency way to get your film off the ground. So I will never do it again, but it was very handy for that one time I needed to break the glass.
It's worth it, as long as you get the results.
All that said, before you go focusing on raising all the money for your short films, you should be doing absolutely everything in your power that doesn't require that money before you start raising the money for the short film. Because it's going to be so much easier to convince people to chip in for your project once they can see, oh, you already have your cast, you have your crew, you have your locations, you have your shot list, you've gotten all these revisions on your script, you've built out a schedule. All these things that make your project seem like it's so close to being real, and the only thing that's holding back is just this chunk of money, is going to make people want to invest in your film or give you money or go in on the project with you, whatever. If you want to see all these methods put to the test, check out this video on my $25,000 short film, Will the Machine, where I talk about how we combined a few of these methods to raise that big budget. Subscribe for more and go make your films.
Shout out again to the Standard Company. I want to thank you sincerely for checking out the channel. I hope the content has been helpful. Have a great night and a beautiful day tomorrow. Be blessed. Positive vibes. Hashtag one human family. Let's go. Part 2. Enjoy. Cheers.